Do you know what the last 25 years of monarch butterfly research in the Carolinas has taught us? Monarch butterflies can be seen in the Carolinas year-round. Some migrate into the states through gaps in the southern Appalachians during their fall migration to Mexico, and remain year-round, breeding, feeding on nectar, pollinating plants we depend on as food, as they travel within the Carolinas. The offspring of those monarchs find a richness of habitats they need to become part of the interdependence of all living things, and what has been called a breathtaking richness of life. Remember, there are no baby butterflies. An adult monarch is a butterfly produced by a process of changing while sleeping called metamorphosis. Male and females mate while the female searches out milkweed to lay eggs on. The egg hatches into a tiny caterpillar and eats milkweed leaves and outgrows its skin 4 or 5 times until it's large enough to spin a chrysalis. Some days later, a fully formed butterfly emerges, pumps up the folded wings, and flies to a place of safety. The cycle of life repeats itself with each new butterfly. The milkweed eaten by caterpillars contains a toxin, which protects adult monarchs from birds, lizards, and other vertebrates. Life is still perilous because the toxins do nothing to deter invertebrates such as this wasp. Dependent on habitats in Canada, the United States, and Mexico, the monarch butterflies need international ecological cooperation and conservation. The monarch's migration spans generations. During the summer breeding season, the monarchs live 2 to 5 weeks. Each successive generation, and there may be as many as 4 within the breeding season, continues the northward journey. The last generation of the year migrates south to the Oyamel fir forests of Mexico. There are 2 international biosphere reserves for monarchs in Mexico. CNPA members travel to Mexico with the migrating monarchs and share these photographs of the Mexico wintering sites where hundreds of millions of monarchs cling together and flapping their wings make sounds like rain. The miles of migration and great congregations leave monarchs vulnerable to changes. Suitable habitat may no longer be available when the monarchs need it. Predation by birds that extract the poisonous portion and eat the remains. Encounters with automobiles, planes, pesticides, and herbicides, and extreme weather events all play a part in the reduced survival of monarchs. Research from Mexico indicates monarch numbers have declined by 90% in recent years. On their journeys, monarchs feed on the nectar of many flowers, but lay their eggs only on milkweed plants. Designated as noxious weeds in some areas, however, milkweeds are often eradicated. Many states and conservation organizations now plant milkweed along roadways and parks, and individuals plant it on their lands, in containers, and in gardens. Traveling between 50 to 100 miles a day, the monarch's migratory journey may be 3,000 miles long and take 2 months to complete. Travel by wings allows the monarch to gain the benefits of prevailing breezes and draft uplifts until evening when the tiny travelers descend to find a place to rest. Springtime travel is mostly northeastern. Several generations are required for the entire reverse journey back to Mexico. Not all monarchs migrate, though. Increasing numbers remain in the Carolinas, where they continue to breed year-round. These tiny travelers weigh less than a gram and may live as long as 9 months. Research conducted in the Carolinas over the last 25 years has revealed that because of the availability of warm climates and continuous availability of host plants, most of the North Carolina and South Carolina monarch population overwinters in the state and breeds continuously throughout the year. A single female lays up to 300 eggs, one at a time, then leaves them to complete the life process we call metamorphosis. There are many good things happening for monarchs in the Carolinas. CNPA members are finding year-round opportunities to practice conservation nature photography in our states. Cooperation with existing conservation groups expands community science efforts and findings in our area of the nation. Butterfly festivals, habitat restoration projects, tagging of migrating butterflies, and education on recognition of monarchs and other butterflies happens every month of the year. Increasing numbers of our citizens add native milkweed and beneficial nectar plants to public and private plantings as they help to conserve monarchs. Schools, conservation groups, cities, towns, as well as state and federal agencies are cooperating in their efforts to save pollinators and increase their numbers, which in turn aids monarchs because they are pollinators as well. During the 2017 Carolinas Butterfly Symposium, one researcher announced that he had never seen a monarch drinking from the Atlantic Ocean and asked for photos from anyone who had them. The request went out to CNPA regions and produced this 4-image sequence, adding to our understanding of these beneficial insects. We are certain they do not cross great bodies of water, such as the Gulf of Mexico, or travel the 90 miles from U.S. to Cuba. The required prevailing breezes do not trend in those directions. During 2018, CNPA members will continue to expand our knowledge of monarchs in the Carolinas. Please join us in celebrating the Year of the Monarch.